reaps benefits and the North keeps its gold and treats it like private business. If Southeast and South-South resources are national cake and other regions' resources are pocket money, what kind of federation is that? What kind of federation is this, where some regions sacrifice and others simply enjoy?
Hello and what's up guys? In this video you are about to hear the words of one very angry Nigerian whose video has gone viral, and trust me, what he said will leave you shocked. He didn't hold back. He said, let's stop pretending. Nigeria runs on oil money, and where does that oil come from? The South-South and the Southeast. These are the regions pumping the crude that gives the federal government over 70% of its revenue and more than 90% of foreign exchange. But here is where it gets crazy. According to him, Lagos in the Southwest contribute little in oil, yet Lagos get the biggest federal projects. Meanwhile, the South-South and the Southeast, who carry the oil burden, are left with poverty, gas flares, polluted water, and deadly oil spills. And then he dropped a bombshell about the North. He said, they tell you Zamfara has gold. That's true. The North is sitting on solid minerals like gold, tin, and limestone. But unlike oil, that gold doesn't flow into the Federation account. In fact, he reminded Nigerians that in 2019, the central bank itself admitted that over 18 tons of Zamfara gold was smuggled out in just 1 year. Millions of naira gone straight into private pockets. Yet oil from the South is tightly controlled, monitored, and shared nationwide. His words were clear: the South bleeds, the West reaps, and the North keeps its gold. And then came the biggest question that shook everyone. If South-South and Southeast oil is called national cake, but other region keeps their resources as private pocket money, what kind of federation is that? What kind of unity are we talking about? Guys, I will let you watch this video for yourself so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Take a look guys, and remember to share your thoughts after watching.
Let's stop pretending. Nigeria runs on oil money. And where does that oil come from? The South-South and the Southeast. These places pump the crude that gives the federal government 70% of its revenue and more than 90% of foreign exchange. But here is the irony. The Southwest, especially Lagos, contributes little in oil compared to the South-South or the Southeast, yet Lagos gets the biggest federal projects. Meanwhile, the oil-producing communities live with poverty, gas flares, polluted waters from oil spills. What about the North? Now they tell you Zamfara state has gold. Well, that's true. The North is sitting on solid minerals, gold, tin, limestone. But here's the problem. That gold doesn't flow into the Federation account like oil does. In fact, in 2019, the central bank admitted that over 18 tons of Zamfara gold was smuggled out in just 1 year. That's billions of naira gone straight into private pockets. Meanwhile, oil from the South-South and Southeast are tightly controlled and shared nationwide. So let's be clear. The Southeast and the South-South bleeds resources. The Southwest reaps benefits and the North keeps its gold and treats it like private business. If Southeast and South-South resources are national cake and other regions' resources are pocket money, what kind of federation is that? What kind of federation is this, where some regions sacrifice and others simply enjoy?
My name is Ann Kubrick. Gold mining. This is fraud by the federal government against the people of the Niger Delta region. Since 1950, the resources of the Niger Delta is being carted away from the Niger Delta and shared across Nigeria and even outside of Nigeria to sustain people and ideologies that are outside of Nigeria. And yet, 48 hours ago, it became very clear from the position of the federal government that fraudulent mining, illegal mining has been going on in Zamfara state, because the federal government itself gave an ultimatum to the people who are mining gold illegally in Nigeria, in Zamfara state, to leave the country. Whereas in the Niger Delta, natural resources is regarded and taken and carted away by the federal government as property of the federal government. Some people even have the affront to claim that the resources in the Niger Delta belongs to, ironically, Zamfara state. And yet today, there are people in jail across the Niger Delta region. Their crime for mining what is in their land. And therefore, we call our people, our governors, the people of the Niger Delta, We call the attention of the international community to see the injustice that even the federal government has owned up to. If the oil and gas in the Niger Delta belongs to federal government, then the gold or bitumen, anything else in Nigeria, belongs also to the federal government, and therefore other people, other states, other regions should benefit from it. But quite honestly, what we want in the Niger Delta is resource ownership, management and control of our resources. We want a restructured Nigeria where what is in the Niger Delta stays in the Niger Delta, belongs to the Niger Delta, and the Niger Delta people will pay tax to the federal government. This is federalism. This is what we want in this country. I take this opportunity to call on the governors, the senators, the representatives, the state assembly members, the local government chairmen, and the people of the Niger Delta to see for themselves the reality of injustice that we have suffered, and we must do something about it. It is not right, it is illegal, and it is unacceptable that mining can go on in Zamfara state by individuals that don't pay tax, and it is not shared amongst Nigerians. And yet we are devastated. Our water is devastated, our land is devastated, and we have nothing to show for it. It is not about 13%, it is not about 87%, it is about 100%.
There is no question in my view, and I come from an area where you have, like you rightly said, sir, there is hardly any part of Nigeria where you don't have solid minerals, even in the south. But what I observe, whereas the federal government is ruthless with people who are doing illegal oil buckling, and they deploy JTF to deal with those involved in illegal buckling. When it comes to illegal mining of solid minerals, the federal government changes. It's like using different standards. And I'm very angry about that. Because if we have to fight, deploy army, even to kill, for anyone who is involved in illegal buckling of oil, and you deploy JTF, a combination of army, police, air force, everybody, why are we allowing illegal mining in many parts of the country that is going on? And they are being mined by retired generals, and we know them. Yes, we know them. Nobody can pretend doesn't know them. I did a letter to retired former President Buhari, because somebody I sent to go and conduct a primary somewhere reported back to me, a retired general of Northern Extraction, told me that, look, Adams, you are worried about the challenge of conducting primaries in Zamfara. The challenge he sees there is far more than that. And if it's not dealt with, Nigeria will not know peace in parts of the country. And this gold go all the way through the belt, all to Kaduna. And it up to, yeah, correct. And he told me that those involved in this illegal mining, they use choppers. They procure arms exactly the same way as our military were doing in the south. They give them arms, they use choppers to come and cut away the gold, and they take them out of this country and make billions of US dollars. And the federal government is not doing what it should be doing. I took this letter to the former president when I was national chairman of APC, and I said, call the general to give you more brief. In fact, what is happening, or what subsequently happened in that part of the country, was exactly what the general told me was going to happen. Because these guys have been weaponized by the illegal big men who deploy them, secure territories, and the weapon is meant to protect the Chinese and other foreigners who they actually employ to carry out the mining. And on occasion, they use the same weapon to carry out banditry, kidnapping, and all of the terrible things that are going on. Chief of Committee Chairman of Defense Staff, tell the defense I said so. That some retired military officers, army officers are involved in it. The day we can't tell the truth, this country cannot flourish. We can't change our, when it affects our people, we are at our best. We talk strong. Some other people appear to be above the law. That is what is going on with solid mineral. It is not that we don't know where it is. We have a whole survey of where we have what across the length and breadth of Nigeria. We also know, I mean, everybody complaining about certain people from certain nationalities. How they got here, even as we are talking now, they are doing those illegal mining. And those guys are getting richer when Nigeria State is getting poorer. But we carry the consequences of banditry, kidnapping, and that which these on illegal armed men, which they equip. Sir, who can afford to buy a chopper to land in an illegal mining site, cut away gold, return to Federating, and then on the way to airport, bam, take them out of the country? This is happening. So I agree with you, but my position is that we shouldn't, as senators, be lamenting. As senators, we should fix the problem. We should tell the executive, you must deploy exactly the same force that you deploy against illegal oil bunkering. That same force should be deployed to deal with criminals who are money. When I say criminal, it can be a retired general, it can be a retired permanent secretary, it can be a retired trade unionist or a retired labor leader. Whoever is involved, they should be dealt with. Let Nigeria see that we are not condoning this. We are not lamenting what is going on. You know, when you have a country of people who are above the law because they are supposed to have served the country and they have retired and now they become the real barons. So I agree with you that the solid sector, and I'm happy with the word made by Baba that oil was discovered by accident. What they were looking for was solid minerals. And now what was discovered is like that what has become of the public sector, the power sector. You used to say generator as a standby. Now the standby is disco power. The resource of power is generator. You know, I don't think we should lament here. We should recommend steep penalties, and through the leadership of the Senate and the National Assembly, you know, draw President's attention that he has to find the political will to deal decisively with criminals that are cutting away our precious stones and other precious solid minerals.
It's 8 a.m. in Maru local government area of Zamfara state, and citizens, both young and old, are converging to begin the day's business, the search for gold, alluvial gold. Many of the miners comprising of youths and underage children, a sight that has become all too common. Gold mining, though banned in Zamfara state, has over the years become a controversial topic, one that can be blamed for the insecurity in the state, with related links to terrorism and banditry in the region. From the waterways to the forest, everyone is involved in the search for gold. The journey to the mining site was tension-filled and could only be accomplished on motorbikes, as just anybody could be a target for the daredevil bandits seeking to control vast areas rich in gold. After hours of maneuvers by the bike riders conversant with the terrain, our team finally located one of the sites. Activities was ongoing as normal at the Chola Gold mining site despite a ban on mining activities.
They are sent people like soldiers or civil defense or police. They arrest us like a thief. We are not a thief. We are mind ourselves. We are depending ourselves.
Ina aikin mining ne na zinari. Yanayin aiki wani lokaci muna zuwa muna samun abubuwan da muka so mu yi lalurorinmu, mu taimaka ma 'yan uwanmu da sauran abokanai, mu taimaka ma tsoyayyinmu don gudun gan mu zama zaman banza. Muna yi zuwa mu je mu taba abun nan kayan mutane, to shine muna son mu kare kanmu da wanga nema da muka yi.
This is another gold mining site in Chola, Maru local government area of Zamfara state, and this time around they are using machine. Now that machine there is being used to trap the particles of alluvial gold. It has a sack-like, or rather a carpet attached to it. After they are tired with the day's job, they open up the machine and then they get the particles of this alluvial gold that is trapped on the carpet, and then they will now put it together in a leather and take it up for processing. Nasiru is a graduate of English and Social Studies from the Zamfara State College of Education. He chose to speak on behalf of the miners, saying that the current economic situation, combined with the lack of employment opportunities for youths, has put many of them in a desperate situation.
Yes, there's many. There's many. They are doing this. Yes, yes. Even here, we are many.
Many graduates.
Yes, many graduates. Some people is a NCE, even degree. There's more people where they finish degree, but they don't have job. That's why to join them, from there and get the money.
While evidence shows that many in this area are in the trade, including underaged children, the returns have made it too tempting to ignore.
Okay. 1% is 950 naira.
Like this?
Yes.
Only this one is 1%.
Yes, it's 1%.
And how much is it, you said?
950, yes.
950 naira.
Yes.
That's good money, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes.
Here.
Here. Yes, only here.
Just this.
Here.
Just three particles.
Only this.
Three particles, I see.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. It is very obvious that the youth and children in Chola will continue to dig for gold as far as hunger and starvation continue to bite hard on them.
In 2018, a major news story started making waves in Nigeria as the anti-graft agency EFCC intercepted a huge illegal shipment of gold at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. Now, this was no ordinary shipment as the gold was reported to be worth about $3 million and it was on its way to Dubai, that is the United Arab Emirates. The suspect had flicked past every security checkpoint unnoticed until a tip-off changed everything as the EFCC stopped him just in time. The seizure quickly made headlines, but it wasn't just the value of the gold that caught people's attention now. An investigation by the EFCC had uncovered a network of smugglers working together to move not just gold now, but other valuable mineral resources out of Nigeria illegally. It turned out that this wasn't just a one-off situation. It was part of a larger problem connected to unlicensed miners and illegal operations in the country's mining industry, siphoning Nigeria's wealth out of the country. This discovery led to the arrest of this man, Abba Ali Yahya, by the anti-graft agency, who was at the center of the operation. In addition to the gold, they found 112,000 euros in cash and several ATM cards in his possession, which added to the suspicion that this was part of a much bigger smuggling syndicate. It turned out the gold had been mined in Zamfara, a state known for its illegal mining activities. While there are licensed mining companies operating in the country, a lot of the country's mining, about 80% of it, is done by small unlicensed miners. These miners typically don't follow any rules and their minerals often end up being smuggled out of the country. The question now is, who are these people? Who is protecting them and how do they manage to get away from the authorities? The mining industry was once a substantial contributor to the growth of the Nigerian economy, accounting for approximately 4 to 5% of the GDP in the 1960s and 1970s. But everything changed when crude oil was discovered. The mining sector was abandoned and its share of the economy shrank drastically, contributing an average of 0.17% to Nigeria's GDP in the past 5 years. Now, for context, agriculture contributed 24.4% to the GDP between 2018 and 2022. You see, this decline is quite ironic because, according to reports, mining occurs in all 774 local governments in Nigeria, and the country has about 44 commercially valuable minerals worth an estimated $700 billion. Yet, instead of bringing wealth, these resources have become a source of insecurity, corruption, and environmental damages. According to existing laws, all minerals in Nigeria are owned by the federal government, and anyone mining without a license can be prosecuted. However, many communities ignore this rule completely, digging for minerals without any sort of permits. One of the major reasons for this has been identified as the outdated laws guiding this industry. Now, take the Minerals and Mining Act of 2007 for example. When a company identifies a mineral deposit and wants to start exploration, they first need to file an application with the ministry. But before the ministry grants a license, the company must get the community's consent, which is fair enough, right? However, this is where the real problem starts. The question now is, who exactly represents the community? In many cases, there's a landowner who actively uses the land, maybe for farming, and has a claim to it through family history or tradition. But there are also traditional rulers here, who are seen as the custodians of the land. Now, if the company gets the landowner's consent and submits it to the ministry, another issue often arises. A traditional ruler might later step in, claiming they didn't approve the project, even though the law only requires consent from the landowner. This can lead to the company's license being revoked, leaving them stuck in the middle of conflicting claims. Illegal mining is a big problem in Nigeria, with authorities revealing that over 1,200 illegal mining sites are currently spread across the country. According to the chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Solid Minerals, these illegal mining activities in Nigeria cost the country about $9 billion annually. But the cost of these illegal activities is more than just the money being lost. An investigation by Vanguard revealed that from Zamfara to Benue, Nasarawa, Bauchi, Plateau, Taraba, Borno, Naija, and other states in the southwest, illegal mining has caused widespread destruction and serious harm to local communities. So, how do these illegal miners operate? This is Bani, a rural town in Kwara State, where illegal lithium trade has become a booming business. In this community, lithium extracted from unregulated mines is sold openly in the market. You see, young men process the mineral for transportation, where 50 kilograms of lithium sells for about 40 euros. According to a truck driver involved in lithium transport, security agencies often turn a blind eye after receiving bribes, of course. According to an investigation by Premium Times, there is an organized illegal lithium trade in Lade, Kwara State, where locals facilitate the trade, selling 1 ton of lithium for 85,000 naira and offering transport for another 120,000 naira per trip. A source interviewed for the story revealed smuggling tactics employed by this group, including transporting lithium in smaller vehicles to avoid detection by authorities, with buyers paying fees shared among local leaders, security personnel, and vigilantes. And then there is Kakamfu village, about 3 kilometers from Lade in Kwara State, where the discovery of high-quality lithium some years ago transformed the once thriving farming community in Patagi local government area of Kwara State. The farmers here, lured by the promise of up to 1.5 million naira, abandoned their farmlands, some selling their ancestral lands to illegal miners. Once these unlicensed miners gain access to the lands, they start by clearing the land, blasting rocks with explosives, and extracting lithium using simple tools like hammers and chisels to make holes in the rock as the miners identify the type of lithium they're looking for. Investigations revealed that a lot of farmers in Kakamfu have sold their land to miners who quickly excavated, pumped in water and chemicals, and abandoned their pits after extracting the minerals. This unchecked mining has caused severe environmental damage, including deforestation, soil erosion, and toxic chemical runoff. The Kakamfu stream, which serves the community, has now turned yellow from pollution, endangering local ecosystems. But this problem is not restricted to Kwara alone. In northern parts of Nigeria, especially states like Kaduna, Katsina, Kebbi, Kogi, Nasarawa, Naija, Plateau, and Zamfara are heavily affected by illegal mining. More than 2 million people rely on these illegal mining activities to make a living, including women and children now. According to the Katsina state government, illicit mining is the wheel that pushes armed banditry in the state. The once thriving farmlands in the affected communities have become battlegrounds, with insecurity spilling over into agriculture, leaving farmers unable to work safely. Investigation by DW, a German news outlet, uncovered the harsh realities faced by miners in Jos, Plateau State, where even children as young as 13 labor under brutal conditions. Some of them using shovels and bare hands to dig for tin, exposing themselves to severe risks like cuts, falls, and even exhaustion. These children are said to earn about €1 per kilo of tin, even though it is illegal for miners to work in these conditions. Zamfara and Naija states, blessed with rich farmlands and mineral resources like gold, marble, and copper, have also become hotspots for illegal mining in recent years. According to an investigation by Daily Trust, several communities in these two states have taken to mining as their second source of livelihood. Some engage in digging the pits, stone grinding, trashing, or washing the sand in search of natural resources, most especially gold. Some of these people even act as agents for the major dealers of these minerals. After mining these resources locally, Some of the residents take their haul to places where they can connect with the major dealers. This could be Lagos, Port Harcourt, or even outside Nigeria in places like Ghana and Benin Republic. This has been a major trade in local communities within these two states for years until banditry entered the picture. You see, initially, bandits focused on kidnapping for ransom, cattle rustling, and carrying out deadly attacks on villages. However, recent reports by the Daily Trust uncovered a likely link between banditry and mining activities in these states, especially Zamfara. When these banditry activities started here, bandits relied on ransom payments by relatives of their victims. But then they got wind of the lucrative business of illegal mining and how their victims often had to sell the illegally mined resources to come up with payments. This was when they decided to join the party. According to this investigation by Daily Trust, a resident revealed to them that most of the mining sites in the state of Zamfara are controlled by bandit leaders. Some of these bandits have amassed so much wealth from their illegal activities that they are now hiring dozens of local miners to work for them at various mining sites across the state. In one particular village called Mada in Gusau local government area, it is alleged that more than half of the mining sites are owned and controlled by bandit leaders. In Dansadao district, 18 villages are said to be home to bandits mining activities. Some of the villages are having to negotiate a peace agreement with the bandits to let the bandits keep the mining sites in exchange for the lives of these innocent residents. An investigation by Premium Times uncovered an illegal gold mining operation run by a notorious terrorist named Halilu Sububu in Nigeria's northwest region. Sububu, who operates in Zamfara state, has the most lucrative and extensive illegal mining site in areas like Bagega and Sumke Forest. Sububu has strong connections with French-speaking jihadist groups in Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and even Senegal, which helped him build a successful gun-running business. In fact, he once called himself, quote, the leader of terrorists in the northern region. Sububu is also known for training other notorious terrorists like himself, people like Bello Toji and several others. He is said to command over 1,000 fighters with stockpiles of weapons, motorcycles, and valuables in his houses. Several miners interviewed by Premium Times mentioned about 10 sites controlled by this guy. He allegedly sells gold to international buyers, although their identities remain unknown. The transportation of illegally mined resources is often facilitated through established local supply routes which have since been taken over by bandits. This control enables them to move minerals covertly, evading law enforcement and regulatory oversight. But who are the masterminds behind this cartel? Findings reveal that some people at the top, often individuals who hold positions of authority, politicians, traditional leaders, and even foreign investors, are part of this illegal trade. According to the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, illegal miners are highly connected people and are being protected by certain powerful forces. Even though the Nigerian army have allegedly arrested 387 individuals linked with illegal mining, the powerful figures pulling the strings in the shadows remain unknown. According to reports, these investors include foreign-based individuals from countries like Ghana, South Africa, Russia, and the United States. These investors provide the seed money for illegal mining activities, which have grown increasingly sophisticated. Landowners aware of the huge profits miners can make now demand very high payments, sometimes up to $50,000 before allowing mining on their lands. Most illegal miners can't afford this. Even families with gold-rich land often struggle to start their own mining operations because of the high costs involved. And then we have community heads who take bribes from mining companies to support illegal operations and fail to report them to the authorities. The government only get to know of these things when conflict arises in mining areas. But the problem is not limited to locals. In 2021, Dr. Uche Oga, a former Minister of State for Mines and Steel Development, alleged that private jet owners were helping illegal miners smuggle gold out of Nigeria. Nigeria's Minister of Mines and Steel Development also revealed that influential Nigerians collaborate with foreigners from Burkina Faso, Ghana, Mali, China, and India in these illegal activities. The minister revealed how politicians pressured the government to release Chinese nationals and local people who were caught for illegal mining. This shows that there may be a strong network of organized criminals working together to get this illegal business going. Once the mining site is acquired, middlemen arrange for investors to finance its operation. Middlemen are the hidden players that keep the illegal mining business running. These people come from different industries like import-export or farming, and they have a lot of power because of their wide connections. These guys act as a bridge linking small-scale miners, licensed operators, and investors. Although these middlemen may not necessarily have experience in the mining sector, they can sway decisions easily thanks to their extensive networks. You see, these solid minerals ultimately need to make their way to the official market, and middlemen are the ones who carry this out. Middlemen search for small-scale miners who already have a legal license to mine, because getting that license involves a lot of complicated paperwork. Once they find these licensed miners, they use their documents to purchase land for mining. This is called subleasing. In these arrangements, for every 5 bags of minerals extracted, the licensed company receives 3, while the informal miners get 2. This method is a common form of illegal mining in Nigeria. At the bottom of this pyramid are the miners. Several miners must work together to complete the real groundwork. They work in hazardous conditions, often in remote areas. Villagers are employed to dig for minerals, but due to their crude methods, the mines sometimes collapse, resulting in several deaths. But what is the Nigerian government really doing to curb this menace? First, let's talk about the dangers of illegal mining. On the evening of January 16, 2024, a devastating explosion shook Old Bodija, a busy residential and business area in Ibadan, Oyo State. The blast claimed 5 lives and destroyed properties worth billions of naira. Investigations would later reveal that the incident was tied to the illegal storage of explosives in a residential building at 8B Reverend Aderinola Close, Old Bodija. Authorities identified the explosive materials as water gel type based explosive, which was tied to a network of illegal miners. A Premium Times investigation further revealed that Medured Resources Nigeria Limited, a company with legitimate licenses, about 9 small-scale mining leases to mine gold and tourmaline in Oyo State, had been storing and trading explosives illegally in the area. Although the company held mining permits in Iwajowa local government area of Oyo State till 2028, it never obtained the required approval to purchase or handle explosives. Instead, it operated a black market network from the property. The house in question was said to be occupied by a miner from Mali, Kamara Mamodu, who was also listed as a director of Meduret. Neighbors and investigators discovered that this Mr. Mamodu, along with his wife Ramatu and other associates, had been purchasing, transporting, and storing explosives illegally. According to the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, only 11 companies in Nigeria are licensed to import and sell explosives, and transactions with these companies require strict documentation and permits from the Mines Inspectorate. Despite this, investigators found evidence that some miners bypass these requirements by working with insiders at licensed companies or purchasing from black market dealers like Mr. Mamodu. And this has ultimately led to the loss of lives. In Nigeria, there are laws that regulate solid mineral mining, but in practice, the government pays little attention to enforcing these laws. Although former President Muhammadu Buhari announced bans on illegal mining in 2019 and 2021, these measures largely remained on paper. As a result, illegal miners continued their operations without facing serious consequences. However, recent efforts to combat illegal mining have seen some successes. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps reported reclaiming over 200 mining sites from bandits and illegal miners. Dr. Ahmed Abubakar, the NSCDC's head, confirmed the arrest of 300 individuals linked to economic sabotage through illegal mining. The federal government has also recently introduced a 2,200-strong corps of mining marshals to protect the country's mineral resources. The government has also introduced policies like the quote, use it or lose it initiative from the Mining Cadastre Office. Under this policy, mining licenses that remain unused are revoked. In April 2024, the federal government cancelled 924 dormant licenses, including 528 exploration, 20 mining leases, 101 quarry licenses, and 273 small-scale permits. But will these initiatives be enough to curb the illegal mining activities currently plaguing the country? Kindly share your thoughts with us in the comment section below.